So this picture was me 2 years ago. So I didn't look that bad. I was pretty average looking, kind of skinny fat, maybe I would say. And for the most part, I wasn't doing that bad. I was okay. But to me, I just felt like I wasn't really happy with my body. I felt like I could do more. And I had this goal for like 20 years of wanting to get a six pack, and I didn't ever really understand how to do it because the problem was like I grew up in Mississippi and I worked at a few gyms growing up. Okay. So I always had an interest in working out, and I actually got like the body fat caliper testing done. And they told me I was anywhere from, I think one time did it, they said 8% body fat. And I just felt like that seemed way too low at the time. So I ended up like going to LA Fitness years later, and they had one of these things. It was like a hand grip type thing, and you could grip it and it would show you the body fat percentage you have estimate. It said like 12.5%. And I also felt like I didn't really understand it. I was like, okay, cool. So I go look online, and the problem was I would look at like all these YouTube influencers and how they looked, and I would feel like it would be so much different than how I looked. And I would look at these pictures, and it would say, show different people's body fat percentages and what that looked like. But the problem was, if I was like 12% body fat, I'd never looked anything close to the people that were 12% body fat in the pictures. Like they were like chiseled six packs, a lot of muscle mass, stuff like that. And I felt like I was just flabby. And I ended up like starting just a very minimal workout routine. Okay. And what I did was I just started doing five things 2 times per day. So I just do like a circuit of body weight exercises. Okay. So I would do like push ups, mountain climbers, leg raises, air squats, stuff like that. It would just be very minimal. And I would do like one set of each thing, like to the max. Then I just start it right back over, and I'd be done with the whole thing in about 10 minutes. So I do that every morning, usually, or sometime during the day if I didn't get it done in the morning. And what I noticed was that like small amount of consistency actually really helped get me going, because in the past, like I said, I had this goal of getting the six pack, and I would actually like, get places sometimes. I would start out like a new program, lift weights like for a couple weeks, and then I'd be making progress. But the problem would be the weekend would come and I'd start drinking and then just go party. And like the whole time, I was just destroying all my progress because I would just derail it in the weekend. And so the next week, I'd feel kind of like demotivated and just like, I don't feel good. Like, I just want to recover. And it would take me, 2, 3, 4 days sometimes to fully get back to 100% energy level. And so I'd start the process over. Then I get back to a new point, start building some momentum, and then go out and party and just derail all of my progress again. And I did this for years and years and years. And I never could figure out like what was keeping me from getting my six pack. But obviously, when I tell that story, it seems very clear that I just didn't have much discipline, and I didn't let my momentum compound. Okay. So I started doing that 10-minute workout routine. And what I saw was that my body started changing slowly. Okay. I wasn't really dieting. I wasn't doing that much. I just was doing that 10-minute body weight routine every day. Okay. 7 days a week. All right. And so after a while, I started trying different things. I started running more, doing more 5Ks. I started lift with my neighbor. I felt like I was getting somewhere, but I really wasn't seeing the results that I wanted. So it had been like a year and a half at that point of me doing this routine kind of and trying to get to that next level of fitness, but I still felt like one thing was missing and I couldn't figure out what it was. So I was lifting with my neighbor one day, and he said he was going to get this thing, and it was called a DEXA scan. And I had like an instant light bulb moment because I was like, oh, I actually remember hearing about this. Like I had heard of those hydration tanks or something that you get in, and it tells you your exact body fat percentage. And I kind of knew somewhat of what it was. So it just was something that I had heard of and forgotten about. And once I heard him say that he was getting that, I was like, I think that would really actually help me because I would know my exact body fat percentage. And so the next week, I basically Went down there, got like a full scan, got my body fat percentage, my lean mass, my bone weight, stuff like that. It'll even tell you like if your spine is fully aligned, which for me, I kind of lean slightly to the left or something like that, which kind of makes sense. So, yeah, it's just really cool. And you can also see if you have like a lot of visceral fat around your organs, all that stuff. Like these are very important metrics to know. But yeah, so I got the DEXA scan and it said I was at 16.3% body fat and I weighed about 157. And I was like, okay, cool. So the cool thing with that is I instantly understood what I needed to do to get my six pack. And it was to drop my body fat percentage down. Okay. So that clarity is like priceless. It's huge because if you don't know what you don't know, you're just guessing. But once you know what you need to figure out, then you just do that. So instantly, like I came up with this plan and I was like, all right, I'm gonna start tracking my calories. And I got this app called mynetdiary. It's free. And I know there's a lot of free ones. You can use whatever you want. But I like this one just because it was very easy to use. I could just press the buttons every time I'd eat a meal. I had to spend like 1 or 2 days figuring out like how to, I got like a scale from stamps.com that I had, and I would just like measure out my food, and then did that for like a day or two till I figured out exactly what different portions look like for the foods that I was eating. And I also was doing intermittent fasting. So my first meal would be like 11 a.m. I'd eat a lunch of like chicken or beef, whatever it was. The first couple days, like instead of making rice, I just ate like a piece of bread as my carb or whatever. And then I had like some carrots. I remember my wife being like, yeah, like that looks so depressing. I don't know how you can eat that. And it was funny because I was so hungry. I was so pumped to eat it because I was getting like ground beef with a piece of bread and some carrots and some ketchup. And I just was like, dude, I'm actually so hungry. My body needs this so bad. So I was really enjoying eating it. And I knew that it was helping me as well because another principle when it comes to like getting in shape and a lot of other things is delayed gratification. So it feels great to eat a pizza basically, but you don't feel great afterward. But it doesn't feel great to eat ground beef, a piece of bread, and carrots, but you actually feel great afterward. So it depends on where you want to get your gratification in the moment or later. But usually, every path to success comes with delayed gratification. So that's one thing I've kind of realized in life over the years. So yeah, I started doing the intermittent fasting. I would eat like a healthy lunch, and then I'd eat a snack of like Greek yogurt with some cranberries, maybe some honey on top, something like that. It was like 200 or 300 calories. They were the dried cranberries, so it could have been healthier with that fruit option. And then I also would just eat a regular dinner, and it could be like I did eat thin crust pizza a few times, and I would try not to drink whatsoever, but I would just drink like these non-alcoholic beers were called like Bud Light Zero or Budweiser Zero, and they're 50 calories each. So I'd have like one of those, maybe two at night, just to kind of like act like I was drinking or something, and it would give me the same like mental feeling kind of. It wouldn't get me like drunk, but I would just feel like, hey, it's a treat and I'm relaxing and rewarding myself with like a beer at the end of the day or something like that. So it really didn't affect my calories too much. It was like 100 calories per day. And then with that, like when I'd eat the healthy lunch, the healthy snack, and then like a regular dinner, I'd usually be anywhere from like 200 to 500 calories below my maintenance rate. Okay. So no matter what you do with your workout, like if you're below maintenance rate, you are going to keep losing fat from your body. Because when it comes down to it, all dieting and exercise it's really just math. So your main metric that you need to focus on is calorie deficit, and you don't understand how to do calorie deficit until you know your maintenance rate. So that's why this app is really important, and a lot of other apps out there can do the same thing. Is they just tell you your base maintenance rate, and then you just stay under that, and then you start losing fat. And every 3,500 calories that you are in a deficit, that's 1 pound of fat that you burn. So simple math. But it's interesting because it kind of made me realize like the other time that I was in the best shape of my life was when I was also tracking my calories. And when you actually track your calories, you really start seeing progress. So long story short, I started getting up at 5 a.m. every day, or at least Monday through Friday most days, and then I would do my workouts from like 5:30 a.m. to about 6:15, something like that. And I would do like these Peloton workouts. It was like a HIIT workout Monday and Friday, and then I would do a lifting extra workout like Tuesday through Thursday, which would be like chest, legs, back, something like that. So it was very standard. But that routine, like once I implemented all these steps, all it took was 30 days and I had the six pack. Like it was actually more like 3 weeks. And then I spent the last days of it trying to just, stay on my program and maybe lose like a little bit more. But yeah, I could tell like a big difference within just a few days. And then like last 2 to 3 weeks was just trying to lose like the last pound or so, pound and a half. But I lost like 6 total pounds in 30 days. And 5 pounds of that was fat. One was muscle. And how do I know that? Because I went and got another DEXA scan, and the report came back at like 13.6. And I wanted to be in the 12s, but it was close. And I had basically 20 pounds of fat on my entire body. And the guy told me, he's like, if you want to lose any more fat, don't do that, because like you're going to start having negative health consequences of having less than 20 pounds of fat on your body. And I don't know how accurate that is, but I took his word for it. And I think like what I've realized is that I do need to add more muscle onto my frame. So that's kind of like my next big goal that I'm working on, is trying to just lift more consistently and not focused on just like keeping my abs all the time. I'd like to keep them all the time, but I do need to build muscle as well. So that's like, I feel like building muscle is actually way harder than losing fat. So if you do want to lose weight and you've always wanted the goal of like having a six pack or to be in really good shape and lean and toned, then like all you have to do is follow this program. And I have the whole program like in the description below. So if you want to get that, check out the description and go download it. Like you can literally follow this like word for word, and you should have your result like in some amount of time, depending on how much body fat you have right now. So I would definitely recommend either taking progress pictures, getting a DEXA scan, or both. Because if you have the progress pictures, what that really does is helps you stay on track and stay motivated. Because what happens is you see yourself every day in the mirror and then you forget like the progress that you're making. But then when you look back at your progress picture from like 1, 2, 3 months down the road, you're like, dude, I've changed so much, and I thought that I was like looking good back then, and now like I have much more definition than I did then. So that makes you feel awesome. Or you could be like, man, I didn't like the way I looked there, but I really like the way I look now. So again, like it just comes down to taking progress snapshots to capture those incremental changes that are taking place. And you can see how you're doing over a much longer scale, because that's how progress is. It's so incremental. Like a lot of times you don't even see it on the day-to-day level. But real impactful progress is made from sticking with something long enough that the improvement starts compounding, so that like over a long enough course of time, you see a massive result. But yeah, if you do the DEXA scan as well, that's really good for your health to see where you are and the amount of body fat you have. But once you start getting to sub 15 body fat percentage, depending on how much muscle you have on your body, like you're going to be really happy with the way you look. Like you are going to get a lot of definition in your stomach, and you're going to feel pretty badass every day. But if you want to download that guide, then go ahead and get it in the description. And if you download the guide and you still feel like you're lacking in something and you want that accountability aspect, drop a comment below and then we can connect. Also, I'll have a way to connect with me on X in the description, so you could send me a DM on there and then we can talk about that. So I hope this video was helpful for you. If I had found this video like 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and applied the advice, I would definitely have had my six pack a lot faster. But you really just have to have the discipline. So that's again why the accountability aspect comes into play, because it's easy to download the course, but what's hard is actually implementing that and sticking with it. But for me, it had been 20 years of trying to achieve this goal. And to be able to do that within 30 days of focused effort, like I think I mean, it's nothing. 30 days is nothing. So you can do this. Like we still have more time left than that in 2024, if that's when I'm recording this video. And if you're like 5 or 10 pounds overweight, like you could lose that all by 2025. So it's really just coming down to the fact of just being disciplined, and like you can still enjoy your Thanksgiving and the holidays, just like work out every other day, or like almost every day, consistent amount, and then be in a calorie deficit for the rest of the time. And then you will definitely be happy with your results. So I hope this video was helpful for you. I appreciate you, and thanks for watching.